So to sum up with this course, the things we learned are you have to really slow down from what you think. You can estimate sort of how you would like students to move through technology. You are likely going to have to reduce that by about half, which seems like a lot, but if you can have a couple of different versions of the syllabus, that would be ideal. That way you're a bit more prepared. And speaking of preparation, that is the other really important aspect of a course like this, that the tendency of experienced instructors can be to wing it a bit in the classroom. And when you are combining technology with your humanist material that you've mastered, you can kind of wing the humanist stuff, but I really encourage you to overplan for the tech stuff. There's going to be technological failures. As anyone who has ever tried to pull up a PowerPoint before a major presentation knows, things will stop working at the most inopportune time. Another thing that we learned is that it's probably good to take a few breaks throughout the semester. So you have probably a pretty good sense of your courses and the kinds of students that you get and how classes can sometimes, in the middle of a long semester, need a bit of a break. I encourage you to build a few of those in, whether it's in kind of taking a day to play with a new tool. So learning Python is pretty difficult. So if you can have something that's really fun to do with Python a few times throughout the semester, that's probably going to help students feel a little less frustrated because they're effectively learning a new language. I've compared it to, imagine that you have to learn math for the first time. However old you are, and suddenly you're presented with a series of numbers and symbols, and you have no background for them, so they make literally zero sense to you. But the thing that lets you, as a humanist and an adult trained critical thinker, make sense of that is the application of logic, which you are really well trained in. Because computer languages are built in a logic, just like foreign languages are, just like our native languages are, whatever those may be. So the more you can explain the logical framework of what you're asking students to do, the better. And I would say this is the final lesson from this course, and it's probably the most important for however you end up designing your syllabus, whatever your interests are, whatever skills you're approaching. Tell students what you are doing and why. If you are asking them to switch from, in this course's case, just kind of learning the basics of Python to applying that Python to corpuses or corpora of texts, tell them how you made that move. I'm a big fan personally of using my own learning process as an example for students. So if you can show them an example that you've made of how to transition from learning Python to applying Python, I've found that can create a great community in the classroom. So the more transparent, the more open, and the more patient you can be in the class, it's probably going to only have positive benefits. All right, thanks for watching, and if you have any questions, please explore the other materials we've provided on this site, and hopefully we can give you some inspiration for your own doing digital style course.